Going to test it. Okay, here we go. Sci-fi, by definition, at least the golden age of sci-fi, I'm going to say pre us going to the moon, that was when sci-fi was pretty much defined by, we were going through a lot of technological change at the time, and we were paranoid. We hadn't even been to the moon yet, So that was the invention of the genre. I mean, don't quote me on this, but it seems to me like that's the invention of the genre, when we could take technology and what it meant to us and take it to its most paranoid conclusion. There are fantasy stories, a lot of them, that deal with technology, future tech, but science fiction, I think, not to be too fundamentalist about it, but back in the day, science fiction seemed to me to be like taking fears of technology, fears of the modern world, things that are happening, and projecting them into the future, as I said, to their most paranoid conclusion. Like, what's going to happen? And, it's for dramatic effect. Who's going to read a sci-fi story where it's like, and then things got slightly more annoying because of this technology, That seems like a crappy sci-fi story. It's more like the world came to an end, a ball of fire. So I think it might be the same thing with AI in some ways. It's just, I don't know, having an argument with reality is just a short path to a crappy life, And I really dislike it when people say, "Oh, well, you better deal with it because here it comes," as far as AI goes. But it's kind of true. People are going to be trying to become billionaires off the back of it. People are going to be trying to game the system and make money off of it, just like they did every other piece of technology that's ever been invented. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to, but let's see. At the risk of a group of my fellow artists, my peers, taking up pitchforks and coming to chase me out of town, I have to say that there are ways that AI could actually make our lives easier in the future. But first, I want to say that, this Midjourney, this art creation tools, I don't know, man, there's going to have to be some kind of laws sooner or later that protect people's copyright. Something's going to have to happen with that. It's really immoral. To me, it's not even an ethical gray area that these robots can scrape the internet and learn from all these other people's stuff, and then somehow, be able to take all of that info and basically just ask this robot to reconfigure it in a way that they can sell it and make money. So I don't know. I'm already starting to see things around here and there where you have to disclose whether you use AI or not. And that's because, basically, sometime real soon, it's going to be like, you're going to be able to make Barack Obama talk about that time that he dug a hole into the center of the earth and discovered the mole people, right? And it'll be indistinguishable from the real thing, right? I don't know what the future's going to hold, and to be honest, you don't know what the future's going to hold either. Anybody who tries to predict what AI is going to go, where it's going to go, whether it saves the world or destroys the world, these people are all wrong. It's going to do something completely different than what they say, what we say. We're very rarely right when we talk about where technology is going to take us. Or, well, we can project, okay, let me rephrase that. We can project where technology is going to go. I think that we could probably predict where AI is going to go in the near future and how it's going to be getting better and better. Yeah, we can predict that. But its effect on the world, its effect on society, the cause and the effect of it, we're terrible at predicting that. We're terrible at predicting that because, we're biased. We're biased toward the negative, but because again, it's like, who's going to listen to a person that's like, yeah, and things are going to get a little bit more annoying. Some things are going to get better, some things are going to get worse. Like, who's going to sit through that story? It's got to be like, all of our problems will be solved and wars will become pointless. Yes, and we will walk into the ocean holding hands and be able to breathe underwater, or it's either that or the world is going to burn in a ball of fire and we're all going to be enslaved by Chat GPT. And then Charlton Heston's going to walk out on the beach and he's going to realize that this is the Statue of Liberty, and he's going to be like, "You damn dirty," I don't know. It's just going to have to, it's just got to be like, the most dramatic, right? So like I said, at the risk of being run out of town on a rail, I don't know what that expression means. So if it means something shady, like, sorry. So here's an example. I'm getting ready to do shows. I've got 6 shows in the next 8 weekends. Actually, I've already done a couple, but I've got many shows coming up for the next couple weeks. And since I can't have the artificial intelligence robot go to the shows for me, I will. No, I'm just kidding. I have a good time talking to people at these shows and shaking it up with other artists, and it's a really good time. But for the first 4 hours at least, and then I'm exhausted because introvert. But it's a lot of fun. But so, anyways, I needed to count my prints because I needed to figure out how many I needed to produce to prepare for this show. So instead of trying to type into my phone with my fat thumbs, I just, and all the names of the prints and their numbers on the spreadsheet and all that, I opened up an app called Just Press Record, and, it's an app that transcribes your words. And I just called out like Kitchen Ghost 3, Koala 4, Veronica. These are names of my paintings, right? 6. So, and then I was just saying the name of the piece and how many I had on hand, and it transcribed all that. But it transcribed it as just a block of text. So I copied that, pasted it into Notion, and I say to Notion's AI tools, turn all of the written out numbers into numerals, right? So then it took all the written numbers, etc., and turned it into the number 2. And so, it took all those numbers and then basically just put all the lines in order for me. And then I said, put a hard return after the numbers. And so, yeah, I did that. I turned it into a table, turned it into a spreadsheet. And basically, I had a spreadsheet, and it saved me a lot of time. And most importantly, though, it saved me a lot of hassle because I hate typing on phones. I mean, I don't know. I'm just terrible at it. Maybe I'm too impatient or something. I don't know. I don't slow down. I just try to type as fast as I can on my phone. And it as fast as my fat little thumbs will let me, and it's just full of bullshit. And it's like, I hit a period after every word instead of a space, and I'm getting, my blood pressure is going up right now just thinking about it, how much I hate typing on my phone. AI is supposed to be, taking over the world, and we still haven't figured out a way to make a keyboard that on a phone that's usable for people that have adult fingers. So anyways, I don't want to digress too much into that and make myself angry. So yeah, I use AI. I use AI to help me as an artist. It was, using it for administrative tasks. I'm never going to be like, paint me a picture in my style. I mean, who's going to want that? I guess at some point that might be an option for people, but I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm trying to be, generous here and try to be kind of reasonable. I know that it's hard, and I know that a lot of artists are scared right now. I'm not trying to belittle that, but I think one of 2 things could possibly happen from this. Number one, and again, I know this is more blasphemy, but somebody figures out a way to make AI into a tool to make actual art that has an impact on people, like it makes them feel something, I mean, which is what art is. The tools that you use aren't important. Art is a communication of our shared human experience, and our human experience is so varied that not all art speaks to everybody. I don't know. I mean, I want to stay away from the word successful because I don't want to define art and stuff like that, because I don't like to define those things. But when it comes to art, it's just, it just is what it is. So anyway, one of the things that could happen, probably both of these things are going to happen, but number one, somebody's going to figure out a way to use AI to make something that is a successful piece of art. In other words, a piece of art that nobody can deny is art. There's some kind of emotional connection to it because a human brain made it. That's one branch. One branch is that someone will actually figure out how to use this to make art in a real sense of the word. And then the second branch is going to be, dare I say, just lazy losers, sorry. But they're going to be trying to make a buck off of this new technology, and they're going to be selling derivative bullshit. They're going to be, just like the people that sell art, that steal art on the internet now and then make t-shirts out of it. They sell like 3 of them on Cafe Press before they get caught. and make like $35, or companies in China or other countries overseas where the laws aren't quite as protective of us and you can't really touch them because you're in the US, it's a scam. People have used every bit of tech that's ever been invented to run scams. I mean, the internet is 85% scams, So it's like, what are you going to do? This is what it is. And we're probably going to hopefully get better at detecting it eventually, when someone is ripping someone else's work off. And hopefully someday, I know it's hard to make the 95-year-old senators understand even what the problem is, but hopefully at some point they're going to extend copyright protections in some way, shape, or form to AI. I don't know how you do it, but I don't know. Blockchain seems to be someday, it might be something kind of promising to, I don't know, maybe you can sign pixels or something and someone will not be able to use them. There'll be some digital signature on your pixels forever and ever. I don't know. All this stuff is still happening, all this stuff is happening, but when I let it get to me, when I get at my most paranoid, when I start thinking about it in too negative a light and I start letting it get to me, which I do, I start to get sad, just like everything that's ever been automated, it's forced us to adjust and people lost jobs all the way from, the Xerox machine took a job away from the person that used to type copies of stuff, hand typed copies of stuff, which, that person was probably really good at typing, and then their skills, they had to find another use for the skills and go to the Xerox machine. I don't know. I don't want to get too much into that. And I also don't want to be a bummer. There are going to be some, listen, here's what I'll say. I'm not very qualified to talk about the industry, the art industry, the video game industry, the movie industry and stuff like that. There are many other channels that will talk about that kind of stuff. What I'm talking about is AI replacing artists. People like me with small businesses that come up with things and try to, come up with things and sell them. Fine artists, illustrators, stuff like that. I just have a hard time believing that AI is going to take that all from us. People don't buy your work because it's some I was going to say because the hands are better, but we all know what AI does with hands, or at least they did last. I don't know. Is that a dated reference at this point? Who knows? It might be really good at hands now. It's funny. I used to suck at hands a lot more than I do now too. Oh my God, I'm a robot. Listen, I don't want to go off into too much of a tangent. So, greed, greed is it's every bad thing that's ever happened in the world has come out of fear and desperation. So we can't let that take over. And greed, greed is kind of a fear of insecurity. It's kind of a fear of not having enough, right? But when it comes to these giant companies, greed is what makes us all hate them, really, But you got to use your human brain, not your robot brain, to be better than that. There are going to be people that make money. There are going to be things that affect us. There are going to be people that try to rip your art off. There's going to be that happens, and that sucks. But how much money they can really make, and is that money actually coming out of your pocket? I don't think, in the grand scheme of things, the customers that are going to buy cheap imitations of your art they're not your customers, And why would you want to work at a company that's going to replace you with a robot as soon as they can? It's just like some kind of equilibrium will come out of this. And we will adapt like people always adapt. At the risk of repeating myself, but hopefully there will be a infrastructure in place at some point soon. So something's got to change. I want to be clear about that. It's like, we've got to do something to deal with this. And I hope that that's coming. In the meantime, just think about it like this. Like, you're a small business owner, if you're an artist, or if you're a person, if you're a human being at all that just likes to do creative stuff, AI is not going to be able to, it can't take that from you. As I said, art is communication. It is for people. It's made by people for people. Robots are not going to have feelings about art, at least not in our lifetime. So, as much as I love sci-fi, it's not Skynet, dude, So anyway, instead of letting fear take over, just think about how you can use it as a tool. The word, don't let the word artificial intelligence stop you in your tracks and just make you get mad. I understand the impulse. It sucks and it's gross, but instead of that, why not you just say, like, how can this thing help me? In the ways that it can help, like organize your thoughts or stuff and stuff like that, like the left brain stuff. I know a lot of artists are not really interested in doing the left brain things. I know I'm not. So maybe it can help you organize a little bit. Just, if there's something you hate doing in your business, maybe you can think about how you could automate some of that stuff with AI, And think about this. I was thinking the other day, this is one last example. I'm just kind of off the cuff here. I was thinking about this the other day that, there are a lot of indie games. AAA studios are going to be probably eliminating some jobs because they suck and they want to make a bunch of money or whatever. But I mean, I think we all know that the real gold is coming out of smaller studios. I mean, they're studios with budgets, but there are a lot of breakthrough hits that are indie studios, and people like indie stuff. People are a lot more open to stuff that's not as mainstream. And these are things that can be made by one or two people. And imagine, but it takes them forever. It takes like 7 years to make a game. If one person wants to make a game that's kind of like Vampire Survivors or something, don't quote me on, I'm just pulling these numbers right out of my butt, but it would take one person like years to do that, especially with a day job or whatever. So what if, I don't know much about the developing of games, but it is an art form, I'll tell you that much. But, what if one day that could take 3 years instead because of some kind of tools that help the game designer move the process along a little bit? I mean, there are a lot of things about the things that we do that maybe we can offload to these tools. So anyway, that's it for me. I want you to calm down. I'm talking to myself too. And I hope you get it. I hope you understand that I'm not just trying to, so just don't come at me. Just think about it, right? The robots are not going to eat your face, at least not for at least the next 200 years. Goodbye.